The Ultimate Husband. By Sky Kissing Wolf. Episode 6. Daryl glanced at Pearl. If he was not mistaken, she should be the secretary his uncle mentioned about. Sorry, President, I didn't mean to be late. There was a traffic jam. Pearl explained softly, afraid to look Daryl in the eye, and merely bowed. Pearl, what nonsense are you talking about? Penelope stepped forward. Her beautiful appearance was slightly tinged with anger. This is our company's new security guard, why are you addressing him as president? Security guard? Pearl searched inside her handbag and took out a photo. She compared the photo with Daryl, and hurriedly replied Penelope. Miss Peach, there is no mistake. This is our company's new president, Mr. Darby. What? The crowd stood there with their mouths agape, and stared at Daryl in disbelief. Miss, you have to be mistaken. Giselle bit her lip tightly and looked at Pearl. This guy is Daryl, he was my classmate in high school. Look at how uncouth he is, how could he be the president? How was this possible? Why would a president be wearing bargain goods and riding an electric bike? Moreover, during the very recent high school reunion, none of them cared to acknowledge Daryl. Mistaken? Pearl took out her cell phone and showed it to Giselle. Look closely, the patriarch of the Darby clan personally told me that the name of the new president is Daryl Darby. There is also a photo of the president shared in the conversation records, see for yourself. Whoosh! Giselle's mind went blank in an instant. She could feel her legs weaken, she dared not look Daryl in the eyes anymore. Meanwhile, Penelope bit her lip tightly as well. As the deputy manager of Platinum Corporation, she was of a higher rank than many of the common employees. However, Platinum Corporation still belonged to the Darby clan. She could not believe that just moments ago she had threatened to fire the president. Mr. Daryl. Penelope's face was pallor, she walked up to Daryl and whispered to him gently. I don't think that's the right address, chuckled Daryl. Giselle was my classmate, and you're her aunt. I don't think it's fitting for you to call me Mr. Mr. Daryl, I was wrong. I was wrong, I truly know that I did wrong. Said Penelope softly with her head lowered. Daryl waved his hand and interrupted her words, he turned around and looked in the direction of the head of security. At that moment, the head of security was dumbfounded, his body staggered back, almost falling onto the ground. You're fired. Daryl merely said those words to him and entered the building. A group of people followed Daryl with might, which prompted discussion among the employees at the ground floor level. Giselle and Penelope followed suit as well, but with a sense of humility. Although it was hard for them to walk on heels, they still trotted as fast as they could to follow close. It has to be said, Platinum Corporation was extremely grand. Its interior was decorated to resemble a palace. News regarding the new president's arrival spread across the entire company, employees along the way bowed and greeted Daryl. The president's office was on the 11th floor. Daryl sat in his chair when he arrived at his office. How fancy, thought Daryl in admiration. Ever since he was banished from his clan 3 years ago, he never had the opportunity to visit such fancy places. President. Giselle and Penelope followed him into his office and stood obediently in front of his desk. To be fair, although Penelope was Giselle's aunt, she had gone to great lengths to take good care of her appearance. They looked like sisters standing side by side. Mr. Daryl. I sincerely apologize. Penelope bit her lip, hesitated for a moment, before she continued. Mr. Daryl, will Giselle still be able to sign her contract with our company? As long as you allow her the contract, I'll do anything you ask. Anything I'll ask? Daryl laughed out loud. As he was about to speak, Pearl knocked on the door and walked in. Mr. Darby, it's William of Linden clan, he's here to talk business. William Linden. The mere mention of him made Daryl's blood boil. Daryl chuckled, tell him to piss off. Yes, sir. At the Linden clan's villa. Grandmother Linden called upon an emergency meeting. Hundreds of family members were gathered around. "Granny, the Platinum Corporation is too ridiculous." William was so angry that his face was bright red. "I went there to discuss a partnership and they told me to piss off, piss off. Clearly, Platinum Corporation looks down on us Lindens." The Lindens shook their heads one after another. There was nothing they could do. Platinum Corporation has the power to behave in that manner. They were angry but they could not complain. "Enough," Grandmother Linden said as she waved her hand. "I've heard that Platinum Corporation's new president is just slightly over 20 years old. He is young and promising, which gives him the right to be reckless. Although they have a bad attitude, we Lindens still have to continue to strike a deal with them. Who among you is willing to go?" "What?" They looked at each other in shock. The Lindens still intended to discuss and negotiate a partnership. Platinum Corporation had already told William to piss off, and yet they are still requested to seek their cooperation. Who would be willing to do that? Grandmother Linden let out a long sigh. She knew that no one was shameless enough to go there again. However, if they could form a partnership with Platinum Corporation, the benefits brought to the Linden clan would be immense. They cannot give up. William clenched his fists and sneered out a sudden. He stood up and spoke. "Granny, how about we let Lily try?" "William, you..." Lily bit her lip tightly. She knew that William was the type to cause trouble, but she did not expect him to be such a wicked person. "What's wrong?" William asked. "You're a member of the Linden clan, and the company you're in charge of lacks of funding of $5 million, right? Let's ignore the fact that the company is running badly. You're still not willing to put in this effort to help your clan." Finishing his words, William went to Grandmother Linden's side. "Granny, I suggest Lily negotiate this partnership." Grandmother Linden nodded her head. William was her favorite in the clan, and upon hearing his words, she looked at Lily. "Lily Bud, this matter is placed in your hands. Go to Platinum Corporation on time tomorrow and negotiate a partnership." "Granny, I..." Lily wanted to speak, but Grandmother Linden merely waved her hand. "That's enough, we will dismiss the meeting." At the sound of Grandmother Linden's words, hundreds of them left one after another. Each of them rejoiced at the fact that they were not the one that was chosen. Returning home, Lily felt uneasy in her heart. This was an impossible task. How was she supposed to negotiate this partnership tomorrow? Lily felt terribly upset. She simply did not want to think about this matter anymore. She called her best friends Jade and Phoebe over to vent. When Lily's best friends arrived, sure enough, her mood turned ecstatic. "Lily, where's that piece of trash?" Jade asked as she sat on the sofa, gently sipping on a glass of wine. Lily knew who Jade was referring to and laughed. "He left after making breakfast, he hasn't been back yet." "Lily, you're so patient." Jade placed her wine glass down. "Even I could not bear how hopeless he looked. Your company is lacking in funds. If you had a capable husband, even if he couldn't fork out $5 million, at least he could provide $2 or $3 million. Meanwhile, Daryl can't even provide $30,000. As Jade was talking, the sound of the door opening could be heard. Daryl came in holding a black sack, his whole body covered in dirt and grime. Damn it, it started raining when Daryl was on the way back from his company. His scooter was broken earlier this morning when it was knocked by Giselle, so he had to walk back drenched in the rain. "Yo, speaking of the devil," said Jade as she glanced at Daryl. Daryl could not bother to acknowledge her. Instead, he just placed the black sack on the sofa. "Daryl, you still dare to show your face around here," said Samantha as she came out of her bedroom, looking angry. If it was not for Daryl's conflict with William, why would William suggest Lily be the one to negotiate the deal? Samantha glared at Daryl. "You're behaving more and more improper. Putting aside your conflict with William during yesterday's gathering, you still dare to show your face around here. Don't you know that you're leaving footprints everywhere in the house by wearing shoes inside? Another thing, that ugly bag of yours is so dirty, and you just placed it on the sofa? Do you still want to live here or not? You're welcome to leave if you don't want to. Daryl heaved a deep breath. Indeed, he was the one that dirted the house, but was he also not the one responsible for cleaning up the house all these years? Daryl was not angry, for if he minded Samantha's words he would have been driven mad way earlier. Daryl put on an indifferent attitude and approached Lily, and spoke to her with a wide smile on his face. Honey, your company is in dire need of $5 million, right? I have here. Whoa. Jade, who sat at the side, let out a laugh, interrupting Daryl's words, and glared at him. This guy is truly shameless beyond redemption. Never mind the fact that you're useless, yet you still want to remind people of their problems. Lily needs $5 million, which is something a piece of trash like you can never help with, and yet you still brought it up. Episode 7. Jade, stop it already, whispered Lily softly after hearing Jade scolding Daryl. Yesterday at the annual gather William showed off his suit, yet it was Daryl who stood up and helped Lily relieve the embarrassment. Lily, you're too soft-hearted. If it was me, I would have divorced him already, said Jade coldly. After being married to him for so long, yet you both haven't consummated your marriage. I don't know how you can handle facing this piece of trash every day. Jade, called out Daryl as he stared deeply at her. He could not hold it in any more and made a step forward. It had to be said that Jade was gorgeous. She was wearing a short tight skirt, exposing her fair legs. My wife's company needs $5 million, why would you assume that I couldn't help, said Daryl with a smile. I remember you said that if I can fork out $5 million, you'll call me daddy. Yes, I did say that. Jade slowly stood up. Show me then, if you can't, you'll call me your mommy then. Excuse me. Daryl sat down casually on a chair. He held up his dirty sack upside down and poured out the contents onto the table. It was at this moment, the whole house was as silent as the grave. Wads of red-colored cash notes poured out like a waterfall, the sofa could not even contain them all, and many scattered on the floor. This is... Jade stared in amazement. She was so astonished that she could not say a single word. All this cash. Is it really $5 million? Samantha walked over too, her initial anger now somewhat simmered. Lily's best friends Jade and Phoebe felt their legs weakened. $5 million in cash notes in front of their eyes, that kind of visual impact was indescribable. Call me daddy I'm listening, said Daryl as he stroked his hair. Jade eventually recovered from the shock. She looked at Daryl and sneered. Daryl, don't think I'm not aware that Lily only gives you $200 a day. This amount here, I'm sure it's not clean, right? Her words made Lily's body tremble. She walked over quickly and grabbed Daryl's arm, and brought him to the bedroom. After closing the door, Lily whispered to him. Daryl, where did that money come from? Is it from dirty sources? It's clean, don't worry and use it, I borrowed it from a friend, explained Daryl after taking a deep breath. Daryl was not the president of Platinum Corporation, but he did not want to reveal his identity too early because Lily would only think he was lucky. Friend? Where do you even find a friend? Said Lily as she anxiously stomped her foot. After being married for so long, why do I not know that you still have friends? Daryl felt a pain in his chest. Indeed, after being banished from his clan, all his friends avoided him like the plague. Maybe it was because his pride was hurt. Daryl turned around and walked to the door waiting to leave. A classmate from back then got rich after starting a business of his own, so he lent me the money. Just use it first, said Daryl. A few steps out of the room, he could hear Lily softly say, I'll return you this money as soon as I can. Both her best friends Jade and Phoebe had left. She didn't even call me daddy, can't afford to play this game it seems. Daryl mumbled to himself as he sat on the sofa and played with his phone. These few days, Donghai City did not seem to be at peace. Everyone knew that the largest entertainment company in Donghai CLTY changed its new boss, and countless advertising agencies were seeking a partnership with them. However, this new boss was very odd. Even partners that had worked together with the company previously were rejected. All these companies did not wish to give up easily. Given that Platinum Corporation was not partnering with anyone at the moment, they could dominate this big piece of cake themselves if they were to successfully secure a partnership. Those who came to seek partnership were Donghai City's first-class families. It was not expected that the second-class Linden clan also wished to seek a partnership. It was rumored that William formed the Linden clan was sent previously but goes escorted out by Platinum Corporation, yet they did not give up and sent Lily. How shameless. Just when everyone was waiting to laugh at Lily, a piece of surprising news was announced. Platinum Corporation agreed to partner with the Linden clan. This news shocked the whole of Donghai City. Are they out of their minds? Partnering with a second-class family? Lily was pleasantly surprised. She had yet to meet Platinum Corporation's president, but the president's secretary told her that she could come in to sign a contract the next day. Oriental Pearl Hotel, Donghai City. This was the most renowned hotel in Donghai City. The average spending here per person starts from $1,000. Grandmother Linden was exceptionally happy today. She had booked the entire hotel to celebrate Lily's success and had instructed everyone in the Linden clan to attend. Not only that, but she had also invited many guests. Being able to sign a contract with Platinum Corporation was extremely great news which you would want everybody to know. In the hotel, Lily became the crowd's center of attention as she sat at the first table. Daryl followed beside Lily. Their seats were not yet warmed when they heard a reprimand from behind them. "Get up, is this somewhere you belong? Give your seat to Miss Yvonne immediately." This sentence came from William, but now there was a young and beautiful woman standing beside him. Upon seeing this woman, Samantha stood up without hesitation and said, "Quickly give your seat, you piece of trash." Samantha knew that this woman should not be messed with, for she was Grandmother Linden's guest, Yvonne Young, the young mistress of the Young clan. The Youngs had been in the antique business for generations. It was rumored that all of their collections in total could be sold for at least $2 million. Yvonne was invited by Grandmother Linden. She had noticed Lily from first sight, noting that she had on a pair of extremely beautiful high heels. Was that not the worship of crystal? Everyone knew that Yvonne loved the worship of crystal, but she did not own one. It was not that she could not afford it, but the worship of crystal was globally limited to only 99 pairs. This pair of heels was not something one could get just because they have the money. They need to have the right connections to have access to the heels. "Move aside, are you blind? Can't you see Miss Yvonne here?" William shouted angrily as Daryl did not react to him. Daryl seemed like he did not hear a word as he continued to munch on some nuts. "Are you deaf? Can't you hear what William said?" Samantha said in fury. It would not be worth the loss if Yvonne was offended because of Daryl. Although he had lent $5 million to them, Daryl was still a piece of trash in Samantha's heart. It was just pure luck that he was acquainted with a rich classmate. "How about, you give your seat for now?" Lily said as she looked at Daryl. "Okay." Daryl replied happily at Lily's request. He got up and walked toward the table behind. William chuckled and pulled the seat backward and said, "Miss Young, please be seated. That guy is just our clan's live-in son-in-law, living for free with us yet acting like he matters. He is just an idiot, don't be bothered by him." "All right," Yvonne softly answered. She sat down and gazed at the worship of crystal. It was beautiful. Perhaps any woman who wore it would have their elegance elevated a few levels. "Miss Lily, I'd like to ask." Yvonne could not help herself. "I'd like to ask, where did you purchase this pair of heels?" Lily smiled with her heart overjoyed. Everyone knew that Yvonne was a renowned beauty in Donghai City, but now her eyes were full of envy for her. Of course, Lily would be overjoyed. "A friend gifted it to me," Lily replied softly. "Do Do you mind troubling your friend to help me purchase a pair too? Don't worry, I'm willing to pay double the price for your friend's help. Yvonne said. Yvonne's voice was not loud, but people seated nearby could not help but turn around to have a look. The worship of Crystal was priced at $30 million. You could tell that the young clan was very wealthy from her offering to pay double the price. Both Yvonne and Lily were amazing beauties, and having them sitting next to each other was real eye candy. Yvonne was wearing a short skirt, showing off her pair of fair and slender long legs which attracted many men. They both have their unique qualities, winning the stares of many. My daughter, what else could you be thinking? Quickly call this friend of yours. Samantha urged as she thought how great of a chance this would be in making a connection with young clan's young mistress. Lily bit her lips and nodded her head. She took out her cell phone and called Ashton Adagio. For more episodes, please support my channel by hitting the subscribe button.